James Higley is a full-time father with two daughters and one son, and you have seen two of the daughters perform today. It's a brilliant family, and the mother of the three children sits here on the front table, Samantha. Incredible. He is a full-time husband, he being James, of the 2022 LESLIE'S WEEK Honoree. He is a full-time Uber driver for his children's sports practices and events. And they cover a tremendous territory. I don't know if you've seen Illy. Illy is a volleyball champion. There you are, table over there, basically, and is working towards a championship. So her dad takes her. He is a full-time caregiver for his wife, Samantha, who I've mentioned and introduced. He is a full-time global systems engineer at Pure Storage, whose experience at IBM and NetApp as a global technology strategist paved his way into the world of change and inventive curiosity. He is a man who wears many coats, as demonstrated here today. James will tell us about parenting during terminal illness from a caregiver's perspective. Please welcome James Higley.
I want to start by saying that working on this has not been easy. As I prepared for this presentation and speech, one thing kept surfacing, and that's you guys, the audience. You guys know stage 4, and you guys know the world of cancer. I'm presenting to a group who's been scarred by cancer or think about cancer day in and day out as part of your job. And when I say Samantha has metastasis in her lung, in her liver, and our most recent scan just a few months ago, we found one near her heart. You guys know what that means. To survive and do what I do daily, I've been able to do my best to containerize cancer and box it up and put it far, far away. And when I can't do that, I lean on the big man upstairs. Cancer often finds its way back, and when it returns, it's like a sucker punch to the gut. Vladimir Nabokov said, and I quote, "Nothing revives the past so completely as a smell that was once associated with it." That quote, I can best guess, comes from somewhere around 1927. And as imitation is the greatest form of flattery, I'm going to take that quote and make it applicable to myself in 2023. Nothing revives the past so completely as a song. It can take you back to a time and place, and it can help show a reflection of oneself or journey. For me right now, I'm going to pick the song I Refuse by the band so righteously named on our cancer journey, Five Finger Death Punch. Remember that sucker punch to the gut? Let me read you the first couple lines of the song I Refuse. Reading this will help me prepare as I open up about my journey as a caregiver, a father, and a husband to a wife and family living through metastatic breast cancer. And the song goes, I don't want to die alone. I don't want to live forsaken. I refuse to let this go because my soul is breaking. I don't want to let you know that my heart is just so jaded. I refuse to let it show. I refuse to let it go. Wake me up when this is over. I'm tired of living life like it's a dream. Please wake me up when this is over. I'm tired of living right here in between. I refuse. Now, that's been my song since it was released in 2018. Ironically, the same year we found out Samantha's cancer had returned, and she was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. I'm up here to talk about my journey. I'm here to give you a peek into my life. I'm not asking for sympathy, but I do hope that this shows when diagnosis first hits, so does isolation, fear, and loneliness. But there is hope, and dare I say purpose. Let's time travel back to 2013. It was at that point in life that we crossed the chasm. Looking back, we just bought a new house, and I was starting a new job at a new company. We had our third child, Brennan, and there was a lot of life changes that year, a lot of big life changes. It was May 6th, and I was off to orientation at my new job. I was leaving a great company called IBM, And in the tech industry, we use a lot of acronyms. And we always called IBM, kind of laughingly, International Body Movers instead of International Business Machine. And little did I know how that would catch up. I was going to a great company, and orientation was going to be about 2 weeks. I was off to Wichita, Kansas. Samantha and the kids, they stayed back. School, play dates, doctor's appointments. Samantha was nursing Brennan and having some complications. That appointment changed our life. We went from cruise control, windows down, radio blasting, 75 on the highway, to a dirt road full of potholes, rocks, and dangerous curves. Each pothole on this dirt road was isolation. Each rock we maneuvered around was fear. And each dangerous bend in the road was panic, uncertainty, and doubt. We didn't know what was going to hit us next. The cancer diagnosis changed us. So now you see when that first diagnosis hits, it's panic, fear, and isolation. Many times you don't know what's going to happen. The cocktail that was spun up for Samantha, it didn't come with a set of instructions. The effects are scientific. The doctors, the nurses, they said you're going to have a lot of fatigue. And oh, you bet there's going to be nausea and vomiting. There's going to be tons of pain. We know it. But the reality is much more human. And let me break it down. I stopped counting a few years ago, so I'm going to say plus on here. 10 plus surgeries, 30 plus scans. Many she couldn't be around the kids for 24 hours after. You know, radioactive supermom, 300 plus doctor visits, 30 plus days in the hospital. And it feels like I'm just starting here, but you get the idea. As a father to 3 kids, beyond the emotional, new tasks surface for me to take on like cooking, laundry, schoolwork, errands, bills, becoming the Uber driver for my kids. Now don't get me wrong, I cherish the time with my kids. But this was workload as parents we'd planned to split up and now couldn't. I had to answer questions about momming to the kids. I had to reassure them mom was going to be okay. She would get better. But would she? Don't be fooled here. Even at a young age, kids are like a sponge. They absorb everything. They count the number of doctor visits, and they know that mom isn't feeling well. They know something's wrong. But the other thing I learned about kids is that they're very resilient. Here's an example. By the time Samantha had her double mastectomy, Brennan was about 18 months, and he quickly understood that mom was going to no longer be able to hold him or pick him up. One day, he just tugged at her pant leg and said, down, 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 so they could sit next to each other and cuddle. Kids are strong, and they adapt. Their life just changed, and it won't be easy. My advice to fathers going through this: you are human, you will make mistakes, the stakes are high, the stress is higher, and you have to reset each day. Know that you'll get through it. You've got family that depends on you. One day at a time, one foot in front of the other, step by step. The stress of reality can really take its toll. There's a quote that's often shared in the Husbands of Wives with Cancer Facebook page that Mr. Rich Ward here runs. Sadly, that page has almost 1,000 members and is growing. He's become the social influencer he never thought he would be. And the quote goes, "You are not lazy, unmotivated, or stuck. After years of living your life in survival mode, you are freaking exhausted. There is a difference." The family is often the forgotten equation during treatment and after. Endless bills and countless doctor visits take their toll on the family. Focus as a family is making sure mom has everything she needs. It's not fair our kids have to grow up so fast. As I mentioned, that suddenly the household tasks as a couple we imagined sharing now began to shift to our kids. Obviously, it's good to have kids that are helpful, responsible children, but this is more. There's been whole seasons where they wouldn't even ask to have friends over to their house because mom was sick and recovering. No matter the support you try to give them, they seem to always come to the conclusion that they are somehow responsible of taking care of things. to begin hearing your children encourage their mom to go take a nap while they tidy the house because they can see how fatigued she is, makes you so proud of your kids. At the same time, it also makes you sad that they're in this circumstance. As parents, you never imagine wanting to build character in your children to look like this. In the day-to-day, you can't really help keep your kids from functioning under the circumstances of life with a parent with a terminal illness. But Samantha and I have always wanted to provide sometimes of respite, from weekend getaways to vacations. However, with cancer diagnosis, you suddenly find yourself paying those deductible rates that you never intend to reach, with added medication costs and out-of-network prices. So when we were planning a family vacation for the summer of 2022, finances were tight, and we didn't really know what we were going to do for the family. Samantha told me we were nominated for this trip to the beautiful Appalachian Mountains, and it was with this organization called LESLIE'S Week. I remember talking about it, and we went over the details of this trip together. The list goes something like this: a week away from cancer at the Dreammore Resort. Now, I had to Google that. Never been to the Dreammore, didn't know what it was, so I had to Google it, and wow, it looked awesome. A true resort. Nice. A day at Dollywood. My whole family loves theme parks. Half of us love roller coasters, so that box got a big green check mark. Fun, right? The list continued on with more fun, like a family barbecue night and other events. And then we got to the bottom of the page, and it read, this is that fine print at the bottom with asterisks, all that we ask is that you spend a day with us in breakout sessions talking about cancer. I had to look at Samantha and say, wait, what? Is this a timeshare? We all know Sandra. So I'm so glad we chose to accept the invitation to LESLIE'S Week. What I didn't know was how much impact this timeshare would have on me and my family. Connection, let me explain. That day in breakout sessions with about 25 other men, we were all seated in a community circle, and we talked to each other about survival, our stories. We understood each other, and we cried with each other. We are ordinary men, fathers, husbands, and caregivers, taking on a not-so-ordinary challenge, not one we would have picked or given to anyone else. This is cancer. I found other fathers who understood the challenges of parenting with kids whose moms are sick. And connection like that tends to lead to purpose, and that's why I'm here today. I found purpose in trying to help other isolated men like me find connection through LESLIE'S Week. My kids have found purpose with Dreams for Teens and Club for Kids, both part of LESLIE'S Week and both very active here today at Stage for Change. LESLIE'S Week already had the recipe and knew that the kids were the number one priority for the honoree. Ask any LESLIE'S Week honoree, what are you concerned about most about your diagnosis? They will answer with 100% resounding, my kids. We found this whole parenting with the terminal illness gig to be a little easier after connecting with others who are doing it. And it helps us feel less isolated. As watching our children feel seen and understood by peers for the first time in these long 10 years really have been a breath of fresh air. Knowing the common experience these children share, taking on responsibility, feeling so protective, will clench your heart. There's no replacement for a community that understands. Finding such a community through LESLIE'S Week has also helped us in navigating the very tricky parenting role of information sharing. There's a very strange aspect of parenting with a terminal illness, of having to make decisions about how much and when and what to tell your kids about what's going on. You don't want to tell them too much and have them living every minute in worry about fear or death. You don't want to tell them too little and have them feel blindsided with anything as soon as something happens. It feels like a fine line, and it's a line that changes with ages and circumstances. There's really no exactly right way to do this. It is most definitely a case-by-case basis. Being able to talk about it with other parents and hearing different ways different people do it has helped us fine-tune our approach to this obstacle. And the kids' experience of community also helped them improve their communication about this life improve their communication with us about the circumstance. Parenting has always been hard. Parent-child-like communication is often hard. Terminal cancer diagnosis makes everything harder. Doing hard is a lot better in community. Leslie's Week community is about memories for the family. It's happy memories during a really hard part of life. Through Leslie's Week, we've been able to find purpose and make memories via Retreat for Stage 4. Memories are so important for a family going through metastatic breast cancer. Hold on to them. I want to close out with a song by the band called Disturbed. It's called Hold On to the Memories. And it goes, listen, everyone, the time will come when all of us must say goodbye. Feel that aching in your heart, leaving you broken inside. But we're never really gone as long as there's a memory in your mind. So now go do the best things in life. Take a bite of this world while you can, and make the most of the rest of your life. Make a ride of the world while you can, and take the ones you love, and hold on to them because there's little time. And don't let it break your heart. I know that it feels hopeless sometimes, but they're never really gone.
The time will come when all of us say goodbye. Feel that aching in your heart, leaving you broken inside. But we're never really gone, as long as there's a memory in your mind. So now go.